At Richland College and the Richland Collegiate High School, it's our vision that we be the best place we can be to learn, to teach, and to build sustainable local and world community. This trip exemplifies how many systems work together to teach and to build sustainable local and world community.
Traditionally, community college students have been kind of shut out of this arena of what we would call traditional study abroad for a number of reasons. I think that especially holds true for students of color. And so for the last decade, we have been working very hard to increase access for our minority students to be able to experience this kind of study abroad experience in a venue that has been traditionally underserved, and that is in West Africa.
When I went over to Senegal, I saw how almost everyone was so happy with what they had, and they didn't even have half the stuff that an average American would have. And so I learned to just be happy.
What surprised me most was the connection that I made with the high school students there, because we come from like totally different worlds, so I really didn't think that we'd be able to connect the way we did. Everything from music and like boys and school, it was like there was no difference.
What surprised me most was the fact that everybody could depend on each other, seriously. Here it's a lot different. Everybody, does a lot of work by themselves and whatnot. But over there, I believe 50% unemployment. You kind of find it hard to believe that everybody's doing so well. So, the fact that everybody could depend on each other like a big family, that's pretty cool.
Our students started their experience at the beginning of the fall semester in a course taught by Sherry Dean in cultural understanding. And as part of the course, they began to do things that would actually build a sustainable community.
So one of the things that our students did upon being competitively selected into the program is they started to immediately not only raise funds for their own travel to Senegal, but also to raise scholarship monies that were given directly into the hands of 36 beautiful young Senegalese high school students.
Raising money for those girls to continue their education gave me an outstanding feeling inside. I couldn't express it. It made me cry. It made me very emotional, made me want to hug them, and it's like they achieved so much.
We have a micro-lending project in the village of Darul Alpha to help female entrepreneurs, mothers, young wives invest in small businesses that make a difference in the lives of their families every single day.
When we went to Darul Alpha, and right when we got off the bus, everyone was happy and dancing, and then we found out that they didn't have running water or electricity.
And so we went out to the market and we picked like fresh fruit and we picked fish, and we went to the home and then we started like cooking, and like we just saw like how much work is put into making a meal. And it took so many hours, and then like the meal was done in like half an hour. But that whole experience of seeing like what women do every single day had a really big impact on me.
Another thing that our students have helped with is the purchase of an electric grinder, which may not seem like a big deal, but when you think that women in this village were getting up at 5 o'clock every morning and spending an hour to 2 hours with a mortar and pestle grinding the morning millet, what we've been able to do with a little bit of technology is dramatically enhance the quality of life for these families.
The people themselves brought me closer to the country. They told me about how a woman's position in their country used to be like they couldn't get past elementary level education, and it made me realize how blessed I was to have free education, not have to pay for it or worry about it until college.
My favorite experience, I had two. One was Darul Alpha, when we danced and we talked and we ate with the village elders, and the second one was Gorée Island, where my ancestors could have walked on.
That is the launching point. It's the westernmost point of Africa, and therefore the place where the people who were enslaved were captured and then sent in the slave trade across the Atlantic Ocean to the United States. And so what a powerful experience this was for our students, palpably to feel and be there in that place.
I knew it was Slave Island, but when the tour guide expressed what each room was and what was held in each room, and what happened and what they endured. It made me want to push harder for my education, it made me want to learn more languages.
You know, some people might say, well, why is it important to actually go? Can't you just read about it? Can't you watch a DVD or a movie? And my response is, no, you really have to allow the student the experience of being in that target culture to get out of their own skin and, if you will, take off their lenses that they've been wearing, which is their own culture, and then put on another set of glasses, if you will, to start to see the world through another set of eyes. And that's how you actually develop that intercultural empathy.
Students are making changes in what they want to do with their careers, or what they're doing is they're enhancing and they're growing their vision for their career so that they can have an impact beyond themselves or their immediate family. And so it is important that this kind of work continue.
Going to Senegal refocused, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to help the world, but I didn't know specifically what. But now I know that I want to empower women, women from all countries, but especially disadvantaged countries.
I learned, first of all, that I'm very fortunate to be an American. There could be a lot of other places that I could have been born in. I'm glad that I've enrolled in Richland Collegiate High School, and I have a lot more opportunities than a lot of other people have, especially in other countries where they really want the education that we have, and they strive for education and work twice as hard.
Well, what a marvelous experience this was for our students, and what an honor it was for those of us privileged to chaperone the students to Senegal. And it's one thing to have a marvelous trip to an exotic place like Senegal. It's another to have a true learning experience that will last these young people a lifetime.